Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, December 11th, and it's 12:45, so we're going live with our Ask Me Anything hour. Every Tuesday from noon until 1, we open up our doors to answer the questions that you have about your health and nutrition and how it plays into that. I've got 4 different questions we're going to go over. We've got a lot of questions about CBD oil. We've got questions about hormones, testosterone, and we've got questions about vitamin C, the IV version versus ingesting it. And I want to talk, before we get into those questions, about this t-shirt I'm wearing. This is the Healthy This Way initiative. This is, I don't know if you can see it, but we have t-shirts here for people who want to come and get a t-shirt. Basically what this is Lori Williams at the Chamber of Commerce and a couple other people, as you can see, we're all tagged in there, the Mansfield ISD, the Caring Place. They all got together and decided we want to try to make Mansfield a much more proactive, healthy community. And what can we do to make that as easy as possible, and how can we educate and support more healthy choices being made? And this is basically the end result of it. It's a 5-year program. This year we're focusing on moving this way, or as it says, walk this way, and they're finding ways to kind of get you going. So if you guys haven't heard about this yet, go to Facebook and look up Healthy This Way if you're local to the Mansfield area, or there is a website also at healthythisway.com. Check it out. There's going to be announcements on there, a lot going on, and if you guys want some t-shirts to help support it too, we have some here, so come in and grab one. But keep your eyes open. We're going to be doing a lot as far as trying to keep the local area as healthy as possible, and Strong on Health is on that team. We are one of the partners involved in that, and I'm very excited about next year because that is going to be the Eat This Way. So I'm going to be doing a lot more in conjunction with them when that comes around, but it's a great organization and we've got a lot of great things coming from that, so keep your eyes open and look into it and follow it on Facebook as well so you can know what are going to be your local opportunities with that. Okay, so that being said, we're going to jump into these questions we've had. We have so many questions about CBD oil, and I took the time today to make sure that I attended a class with Dr. Slavko from North Carolina State University, who really got into the details of understanding hemp seed oil and the differences between marijuana, and that's where people start to get confused. And if I'm going to distill this down and try to just kind of give you the takeaways, I just want to, what I'm looking at is what are the medicinal reasons that someone is taking something like that, like medicinal marijuana. What are they trying to get to? And if I'm going to distill it down to the very basic overall effect that people are going for, well, the effect in a healthy way is the inflammation. And that's really what we're talking about more than anything else when we're talking about this. I do want to be very clear, though, that hemp seed oil is not marijuana. It's a totally different thing entirely, and there are huge different ratios between the two components. We're talking about the CBD very low in marijuana, THC very high, and the CBD oil is what they're looking to try to get the high amounts from the hemp seed oil. Now, the important thing to remember is always, 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 I want people to understand that when you try to take something out of nature and just go for the active ingredient, you're going to create an imbalance. And this is why we're always talking about trying to find a healthy, whole food way to do this. One of the major things that was a takeaway for me when it came to understanding this endocannabinoid system, and I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit more, is the importance of fats. Okay, the endocannabinoid system is something that your body has, and your body actually creates a couple of different endocannabinoids, and that's the goal that they're trying to get to when they're dealing with these types of plants. And there are different parts of the plants that are legal and different that are not. So the leaves and the flowers are not legal, but the stalk is legal, and the stalk and another part of the plant, I don't remember which one it was. I actually took some notes here. And the seeds, they're still legal. So that's where you're going to be getting a lot of the nutrients and the fats that have to go with it. There's a 4, okay, I'm going to use a little bit of big words. I was trying to not get this into too technical, but just to kind of help tie it together, what the endocannabinoid system is this endogenous, meaning from the inside out, lipid-based, meaning you have to have fats to do this, retrograde neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters we talk a lot about here and helping people feel good and feel happy, and we talked about it a lot with the depression talk that we did last month. So you can see how there is a lot of correlation there. But the main thing that I want you to think about when you're taking this away is you want to get all of the stuff again in a whole food source, and you want to get it with all of the components that are coming with it instead of getting the extractions from it. Now, one of the reasons that we're looking into this is because people are looking for a source for this, looking for a CBD oil, or they're looking for something like that to help with that. If it's inflammation that you're going after, then come in and we will talk about it. I'll explain a little more in detail about what we've learned about that. But keep in mind that this is not marijuana. It is something that is a different aspect of it, and when we're talking about it here, we're talking about entire different part of the plant that actually has the ability to support your inflammatory response, which is really important. But the most important thing I want to remind you of is, again, the same thing we keep talking about, is you have to get healthy fat with it. And that's what they're attempting to do with the whole food aspect of that. I know you still have a lot of questions out there about this, and there's so much to say about it. I didn't want to overcomplicate the issue. So for those of you who have specific questions about this, please come and talk to me about it, or send those questions and specifically I'll answer them. But if you're thinking about and picking up that CBD oil at the gas station or something like that, it is not something that I can get behind. It's not something that I would be supportive of at all. But if you're looking for whole food ways to engage the endocannabinoid system, to be able to help with the inflammatory response, that's where we can have a conversation about a whole food application to that. Which leads me to another thing I forgot to mention in there. The same thing applies to this whole turmeric craze, this curcumin craze. When people are trying to take all of these turmeric supplements, again, they're trying to take out a portion of it that they're deeming the active ingredient, and that seems to never work. You have to get the whole food in there, and you have to get it as unprocessed as possible to get the maximum benefit. Always, always, always remember, the further you get from the way that nature created it, the worse it is possibly going to be for you. And you need all of these things that are in the foods that we don't even know about that are going to be helping us to be able to affect that. And I just lost the questions. They were up here before. But one of them, if I remember correctly, was IV of vitamin C versus ingesting vitamin C. And again, what does nature have to say about that? You're going to have a lot of people giving you a very compelling argument that the best way to get that vitamin C is to stick it in your vein and pump it in there. Now, there may be some short-term benefits when it comes to that, but of course, I am going to always encourage you to make sure you're getting vitamin C into your body the way that nature intended for you to get it into your body, and that is through ingesting it and getting it in appropriate amounts and consistently over time. It's not something that you can just hit a big massive dose of and then be good for a few months. You have to consistently get your vitamin C in your body over time. So of course, I'm going to encourage you to make sure you're doing that as opposed to doing the IV. Which is better? Always the natural way is better, in my opinion. And the other question is about high testosterone levels playing a part with adrenals. So hormones get very complicated, and I'm not sure exactly what this question is asking about high testosterone playing a part with adrenals, but you have, we just talked about an endocannabinoid system, but you have an endocrine system, which is what your hormones are going to be playing a part of. And a part of that endocrine system is going to be your adrenal glands, and testosterone and your other hormones do play into that quite a bit. So yes, high levels of testosterone are going to affect your endocrine system. There is a feedback that's going to be involved in that. So if you could give me a little clarity, whoever asked that question about high testosterone play a part with adrenals, what is it exactly you're trying to ask about? Because yes, it is going to impact your endocrine system, your adrenals being a part of that system, so high testosterone is going to definitely impact that. And do the foods we eat affect your hormones? Absolutely. As we were just talking about with the healthy fats earlier, you have what we call sex hormone precursors. My first thought always is, do we have enough of what we are going to make these hormones out of? Do we have enough of what we're going to make these neurotransmitters out of? When we go back to the basics, when we go back to what are the macronutrients that are necessary to be in this picture to be able to make these things, you're understanding that diet is going to come into play in all of the endogenous hormone production, endogenous neurotransmitter production, all the things meaning that are being created inside the body. You have to have the basic building blocks to do that. Now you have to have a bunch of other things to kind of make it all come together, but if we're looking at the biggest parts of this picture, we want to make sure that they're in there first so that we're not just chasing around after all of these small components and ignoring the lack of the elephant in the room by ignoring the macronutrients, okay? If that doesn't answer your question, but please be a little more careful on that, clear on that, and I'll be more than happy to get into more details on that. But yes, testosterone levels being high is going to impact your endocrine system, and there is something that is causing that. You always have to figure that out, unless it is something you're getting exogenously put in that is increasing your testosterone, or you're putting in an excess of exogenous hormones, which I would never do for me personally. And if you are, that is another conversation I'd love to have with you. And the same thing with the vitamin C. That is something that I would personally always try to get in the way that nature intended, by eating it a little bit every day and not sticking it into my arm to get it into me that way. Now, there may be a argument or a time and place where that is appropriate. I don't foresee that any time in my life personally for me. Okay, I hope that answers your question about the CBD. I hope that answers your questions about the vitamin C and the testosterone. And again, I want to encourage you guys to keep making healthy choices. I know that during the holidays it can be tempting to kind of take your brain out a little bit. And I know that I do maybe a little bit during the holidays too, and eat a couple things that aren't perfect for my health. But we all have human nature to us, but keep your eyes on healthy options as well to keep yourself in balance. That's the most important thing during the holidays. And I believe we're going to be doing a couple more towards the end of the year, so keep those questions coming in. If you have any more questions, or if you need more clarity on those questions, let us know. Is there any questions right now? Great. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great week.